Hi, I'm Brynlee, and I'm here with Brendan and Austin, and we're doing Understanding the Adolescent Brain, a guide for new teachers to support learning and development. Introduction to the Adolescent Brain. During adolescence, both the structure and function of the brain undergo significant changes, influencing how teenagers think and behave. The limbic system, which is responsible for emotions, matures earlier. In contrast, the prefrontal cortex involved in decision-making and impulse control develops later.
In addition to that, technology certainly has a huge impact on the adolescent brain. It can impact everything from how the students' sleep patterns are, depending on how often it is that they're using the technology, but it certainly can be a great form to create empowerment for the student. Such platforms such as virtual tours put the learning experience in the hands of the students. They are able to engage in the process at their own pace, and this is really something that can strengthen the development of a student. And also with technology, depending on how it's used for the adolescent, it can be detrimental or beneficial. But those studies are still under research right now.
I agree 100%. I definitely think technology can be used as a device that improves student learning, or it could be detrimental. It depends on how it's used. Yeah. And so the brain anatomy, this is going to be a quick overview. The cerebellum is the largest part of the brain. It's responsible for higher brain functions like thought and action and personality. There's the prefrontal cortex. It's a part of the cerebellum involved in decision-making, planning, and impulse control. And this is developed later in adolescence. And we're going to talk about all these sections a bit later, specifically the prefrontal cortex. The frontal lobe that handles complex thinking, problem solving, and judgment. There's the parietal lobe that processes sensory information, your five senses, taste, touch, and also temperature. There's the occipital lobe that's responsible for visual processing. Temporal lobe, that's going to be important for auditory processing, memory, and emotional response. Then there's the cerebellum. That's in the back of the brain, and it's key for balance, coordination, and fine motor skills. And it also plays a role in cognitive functions. And then we got the brain stem that connects the brain to the spinal cord. It controls basic life functions like breathing, heart rate, and sleep cycles. So there's also the limbic system, and that is a complex system that includes the amygdala, hippocampus, and thalamus. It's critical for emotional responses, memory, and motivation. There's the amygdala, as we spoke about, that primarily deals with emotions. There's the hippocampus, that's essential for memory. There's the thalamus, that acts as a relay station. And then there's the hypothalamus. So we are going to speed right through these. The striatum, that is all about rewards and how the brain defines certain experiences as rewarding. Teenagers have a heightened sensitivity to the striatum, so they might have difficulty thinking about the future, but a good response to possibly impulsive behaviors is to empathize with students and also explain to them that it's better to make good decisions while they're younger and create better habits than suffer consequences later on in life. And it's good to create positive reward systems because their striatum is very sensitive during this time period. There's also the limbic system. And the limbic system, as we talked about, has the amygdala, which is responsible for emotions, and the hypothalamus, which is all about regulating hormones. And this could explain why students have emotional outbursts. And a response to this is telling students that you understand that, they could have an emotional outburst about playing for college, but you could just say that you understand that this time is difficult, but the more you put into these decisions, as I spoke about earlier with the striatum, the more you put into these decisions, the better off you'll be in the long run. And similar to that philosophy, the corpus callosum has something that's called myelination that occurs, and it allows for faster connections between the brain. And the brain kind of chooses which behaviors it's going to enforce through something called synaptic pruning. So basically what happens is it's kind of like a use it or lose it mentality. So if students procrastinate a lot during this adolescent phase, they will develop a habit of procrastination that's hard to break when they get older. However, if they develop healthy study habits, then they will take those with them into their adulthood. Concluding, helping teens understand. Oh, go for it.
Sorry. And then helping teens understand and manage their changing brains, we can help them by teaching mindfulness, which is like simple breathing exercises to help them stay calm and focused. We can have them journal, which is having students write down their thoughts and feelings to boost their self-awareness. We can do emotional check-ins by starting class and asking students how they feel to help them recognize their emotions. Also, teaching the growth mindset, explain how the brain can grow and change with effort, encouraging a positive attitude towards learning. We can learn about the brain using simple lessons and pictures to show how the brain changes during the teen years. And peer support, which is creating small groups where students can share their feelings and learn from each other.
And then here's our sources. Thanks so much for listening.